This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined again by Mike Gipson. This time we're in Sacramento, though, at our state capitol. He is a member of the California State Assembly. And, sir, I'd like to speak with you about housing generally, but focus first on affordable housing. We've known each other well for a long time. I remember when you were on the city council in Carson.
Yes.
Compton and Carson. They're both C's. Yeah. Carson. And redevelopment was a wonderful tool for cities like Carson and Compton and Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
You were able to develop affordable housing.
Yes.
As a result of the redevelopment tool. Redevelopment is gone.
Yes.
And so you have some ideas, though, to try to jumpstart affordable housing. Tell us about it, sir.
So thank you very much. I've introduced Assembly Bill 2388 that is called the Affordable Mortgage Act. And basically what it would do is, after the abolishment of the 400 redevelopments in the state of California that cities had, and shift all of the assets to the county.
Right, because just so we understand, there had to be a wind down.
Yes.
The redevelopment agencies could no longer own these assets because they weren't around anymore. I mean, it was a bona fide wind down where there had to be committees to figure out how the properties would get transferred.
Right.
So what you're saying, sir, if I may ask, is some of those properties wound up getting transferred to a county?
Yes, those properties are now in the county's assets.
Okay.
And I want to take 10% of those assets of the county county now holds, and place renters, individuals, because we live in a time where people who live paycheck to paycheck will not have an opportunity to own their own home. If we take renters and place those in the assets that the county has through redevelopment, place them, allow them to pay rent, which will allow them as a down payment to move into home ownership. And I believe that people here during this tough times want to have a piece of the American dream, and a lot of times won't have an opportunity because they live paycheck to paycheck.
It's funny you say that because, look, we know so many people, they could afford a mortgage payment. Yeah. It can pencil out, but they don't have the down.
They don't have the down payment.
That's the problem.
Absolutely.
And so what your program is doing is you're creating, it's I guess, a rent-to-buy type of thing?
Rent-to-own.
Rent-to-own, yeah.
Rent-to-own.
Literally.
Absolutely.
And so do you know the particulars of how it will work yet, or would that be done through regulation?
That's going to be done through not only this bill as it goes through the legislative process and take potential amendments, then the regulatory process will also kick in.
Right.
And so, but right now, more importantly, is that we will fighting for people who are living in poverty, who has an ability to pay rent, and move those individuals into home ownership, which will again increase the person's standards, increase the person's confidence level, where they now own their own home.
So how will it work? Will the county be the lender? Do we know yet? I may be asking questions that haven't been determined. If you're putting that, so you're paying rent, and that rent is being used to build up a down.
Absolutely.
And so then what happens? Do we know yet? Is it once you kind of hit a 10%, then the county works with you to find a private lender?
Absolutely.
So that's what the thought is.
Yes.
How's it going? I mean, it seems like
we have
plan.
to do something. When you look at what's going on in Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles around poverty and people struggling to make ends meet, as you know, that homelessness is a big issue in Los Angeles.
Can we talk about homelessness for a second? Because,
absolutely.
Sir, I really had no idea until I read a report from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. A federal report came out in November. California, you know this already, California has 12% of the U.S. population. It has 21% of the homeless population. And in your LA County, our LA County, I live in LA County too, the most homeless in the nation. New York is no longer the homeless capital of the world. We are.
Listen, we are the capital of the world when it comes down to homeless. And I'm so glad that the County of Los Angeles stood up and said they investing $100 million, I think it's $130 million, and the City of Los Angeles is putting in $125 million to work towards addressing the homeless issue that exists in Los Angeles County and also the City of Los Angeles. We have to do our part because a number of people don't want to be homeless. They want the same thing as we want, to be able to go home, to live, sleep in a nice warm bed and things of that nature. And we also realize there's a number of people who have mental disabilities, and that we have to create some opportunity. That's why I'm excited about the Senate's proposal to create this kind of housing to address homelessness.
two issues there. Let's start with LA City and County.
Yes.
You know, you're a student of LA City and County government. You know from that, and you know that over the last 10, 20 years, the city of LA and the county of LA have been at cross purposes on the homeless population.
Right.
They have been pointing fingers at each other, but like you said, sir, I mean, they have finally come together, and it looks like they have a joint plan
Yes.
that they recently passed. And amen. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's painful. I mean, I think of your district, and look, you have some very nice areas in your district, objectively speaking, but then you have some areas where homelessness is an issue.
I represent the 6th poorest district in the state of California. If you remove the city of Carson out, I move from 6th to 3rd place.
Because Carson's a nice middle-class community.
Absolutely.
It's devastating, but like you said, the state Senate is floating around this idea, and as I understand the idea, they're looking to, I guess, repurpose Prop 63 dollars and build permanent permanent housing for the mentally ill people living on the streets.
Right.
I mean, it's a homeless solution. And so have you started to hear rumblings about it in the Assembly? Because I know that the Senate is looking at it.
Well, let me say this, that my colleagues in the Assembly is working towards that end to address the homeless issue that exists in California. And so they have some very good ideas, and those ideas are now bills. For me, who lives in the 64th State Assembly District and see individuals who are living in poverty each and every day, it is certainly incumbent upon us to do everything that we can to help not only those who are mentally disabled, but also those who have no jobs, who have nowhere to go, nowhere to live. Sacramento is also an issue as it relates to homeless. You see the encampments and things of that nature at the city council meetings, and this will continue to grow until we as policymakers create some ideas, some legislation that's going to address this issue in our state and also in our cities.
I want to ask you about local solutions. I know obviously you're in Sacramento, but LA County is talking to LA City about whether it should float its own bond to fund homeless programs. You know, one could argue if the state Senate's bond proposal marches forward, having two bonds on the ballot could cause some confusion, but at the same time, right? But at the same time, maybe the state bond could look for local match or the reverse, and so that could be a wise solution. But do you feel as if that counties should need to float their own bonds on homelessness?
I think what the county should do is work with the state and allow the state to float this bond and to create a real collaboration, because everyone is doing their own thing trying to address. We need to have a broader discussion in this space because we've all agreed that homelessness is an issue and we have to address it. And I believe that let the state take the lead and that counties and cities follow, because we have the resources that will come to bear and try to address it. And again, it doesn't negate local government from participating and being part of it. We just need to have a state conversation statewide to address this issue statewide.
What's going on, sir? You know, we're coming out of a recession.
Yeah.
Homelessness should be dropping. What's going on? What are you seeing in your district, which you describe as a district with poverty? It's counter-cyclical. I'm not clear as to why all of a sudden our homeless numbers are soaring when other parts of the economy are booming.
Right. And again, I think that by and large, it has a lot to do with people who have mental disabilities. Who don't know where they're coming or going as a result of their disability.
And often they're service resistant.
Very much so. They don't want anyone. And I've talked to them. I have reached out to individuals. We did a program called Reaching Our Brothers and Sisters in Our Community. It's called Warming Hearts. And we collected 5,000 socks and blankets and gave it to homeless individuals in my community to let them know that we care and they want to help.
When you come back, I want to hear more about your proposal for affordable mortgages, because that really is an exciting plan.
2388. It's very important.
His name is Mike Gipson. He is a member of the California State Assembly. We're in Sacramento, and this is Local Edition.